into some of that stuff. Saudi Arabia. Should we talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few storylines for this card. I mean, as you know, you're obviously working the event, and I'm sure your inbox has been going crazy with all the last minute changes and things like that. But I mean, obviously, none bigger than the main event getting switched up on us. I think it was right around this time last week. No.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it a bit on Monday, but I do want to go a little bit deeper. Obviously, we spoke to Robert Whittaker and Ikram Aliskerov today at the fighter meetings. Robert Whittaker, I couldn't be more impressed with a human being than what I am with Robert Whittaker every time I speak to him. He came into the fighter meetings today, obviously looking very focused and dialed in and all the rest of it, in kind of a serious tone, but he wasn't being braggadocious. He wasn't acting tough. He wasn't acting hard, but he was very, very self-assured that he's going to win this fight, that he would win any fight in the division. He said, all I'm focused on is being the best fighter in the world, being the martial artist, being the best martial artist that I can be. In fact, I wrote down what he said. Let me just find it here, because it was quite really good. Hold on. I'm trying to find it. The title is just a result, because we said to him, I said, well, what's the idea? How obsessed are you with getting that belt? And he said, no, not really. He said, the title is just a result of perfecting my craft. I'm not obsessing over it. I just want to be the best version of myself. And if I know I'm the best version of myself, I'm then therefore the best fighter on planet Earth. And whether or not I have a belt to prove that, it doesn't matter. I know deep inside myself. And I was like, it was great words, and the way that he spoke it and the way that he delivered it, you just can't help but have respect for this guy. Obviously, taking on Hamza, I said to him, I said, well, did you see that as kind of a path to getting a title fight? And that's what kind of, prompted him to start talking like this. He's like, I don't care. I don't care about a title. I've had all that stuff. I've been a champion before. I've made money. I'm still young. I'm still improving. I'm just still enjoying the ride. His body still feels amazing, and he wants to take on the toughest challenges ever. He said, if I was looking for easy fights, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. If I was ducking opponents, I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror. And you've just got to respect that from this man. When you've got dickheads out there like Jake Paul professing to be some of the baddest men on the planet, but then you've got Robert Whittaker, who's fought nothing but monsters forever and still being very humble, because, maybe I'm delivering it in a slightly cocky tone because it's just the way I talk. But Robert was like, it's the tone of voice that he used. He wasn't being cocky or braggadocious or anything like that. That said, he does recognize that Ikram Aliskerov is a bad man, and potentially a bad matchup. He was training for Khamzat Chimaev. He was going to stand his ground. He was going to take the fight to Khamzat early, because I thought to him his game plan would have been to avoid Khamzat early. Obviously, it's still a fight. You've still got to stand your ground. But I would have thought, avoid that takedown, lower your base, use a lot of jabs, use a lot of circular movement early, because Khamzat is a monster in round one. And he was like, no, actually, it was the opposite. I was going to take the fight right to him, so that in the first round, he's going to use even more energy than what he would usually. So therefore, rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, he's getting more tired and more tired. But then he said something as well. He said, you know what? People say you get tired. He said, and yeah, he does get tired, but he still beat Usman. He still beat Gilbert Burns. And I've fought fighters, and fighters have even said it about me. They get tired, but they're still a pain in the ass to deal with. Yeah, they might be tired, but they're still one of the best fighters on planet Earth. So yeah, they're tired, but they can still fuck you up. They still knock you out. They can still take you down and all the rest of it. I'll take a breath. What are your thoughts on this matchup, Harrington?
I think there is something to be said, though, for somebody like a Khamzat who can come out, get a fast start, and then it's like, okay, now I'm just coasting. All I have to do is not get knocked out or not get submitted. Like I can do enough to make it look like I'm at least splitting these next 2 rounds, and that'll carry me to a decision. If you never let him get that momentum, if you make him fight like he absolutely needs to finish you coming into every round, like that's a pretty good way to gas someone out when they're that hyper focused on it, when there is no cruise control. But this fight, man, This is like how do you do that? Like I hate to turn it right back around on you, but how do you do that as somebody who's been preparing for an insane wrestling attack? Yeah, sure. The idea is to bring it to him in the first round and I'm sure trade on the feet with Khamzat a bunch. But like at the end of the day, you're preparing for a guy who wants to wrestle you, who wants to suplex you, pick you up and slam you. Now you got to get in there with a guy who's looking to take your head off with one punch for the entire 50 or 25 minutes of that fight.
Yeah, but a lot of the strengths that Khamzat has, Ikram has them as well. You know, Ikram's only got one loss on his record to Khamzat. We went over that on Monday. But he started off as a kid, training with Team Habib, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, training with his father and all the old school guys that he used to train with. He's been raised in Dagestan, in Makhachkala, the same town, the exact same gym as Islam Makhachev, as Khabib Nurmagomedov. So yeah, he's got two knockouts and one submission under the UFC banner. But if you think that guy can't swing a high crotch, single leg, double leg you all over the place, suplex you for fun, you're out of your mind. Of course he can. They all do. Anyone with the name Ikram Aliskerov residing in Dagestan, right, will be a better wrestler than any one of us here on this podcast. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? I spent a long time wrestling. I'm in pain right now with my neck because of wrestling injuries. Even though he's not known as a wrestler, he will out-wrestle the out of me. Even though he's not a very big guy. All right, I'm taking this back because I'm a proud man. I'd have a go. But I was shocked when he walked in the fighting meetings. I stood up to shake his hand, obviously, to be respectful. I was kind of taken aback because I was like, whoa, he's not the biggest middleweight. Far from it, not the biggest man at all. Granted, Whittaker spent a long time at welterweight as well. Sean Strickland fought at welterweight, you know, so can't really read too much into that. But yeah, this man, when you look at Khamzat and you look at him, maybe not too much difference. I mean, yeah, Khamzat's undefeated. Khamzat's got a victory over him. Khamzat knocked him out. But he's knocked out plenty of people. He's only got one loss on his record. Who else has only got one loss on his record? Who might be the pound-for-pound number one fighter on the planet, whose name is Islam Makhachev, okay? One loss on his record. What?
I thought you were going to say the other guy who might be pound-for-pound number one on the planet, who's only got one loss on his record, John Jones.
John Jones. You got to be careful, bro. You got to be careful. If you say that, then you're just agreeing with everything Dana White says, okay? You're being a bootlicker, Harrington. What the fuck are you doing? Come on, man. You know better than that. Well, yeah. That did sound like I was describing John Jones, to be fair. No, Islam Makhachev, if you look at Islam, what he's done, yeah, he's got the one loss. He got caught. He got clipped off Adriano Martins, right? Most people don't know that name. We all know the name Khamzat Chimaev. So you could say that he just got clipped, he just got caught, but he was off a great fighter, and it was a bad knockout, as we saw on Monday. But that happens. It happens, and he's doing great. And John Jones, as you said, one loss. A little bit different, though. A little bit different. Islam was knocked out by Adriano Martins. Ikram was knocked out by Khamzat Chimaev. The one loss on John Jones's record is because he beat the crap out of Matt Hamill and 12-6 elbowed him. So, which is a little...
From a gambler's perspective, it's all the same thing. You bet TKO, KO, or DQ. Typically, that's the way they group those bets together. That cash is one way or another.
hey, let's not start this whole conversation again. I said Islam Makhachev is probably one of the two. It's one of them. Anyway, look, listen, Robert Whittaker and Ikram Aliskerov. It's going to be a great fight. Really is. I think Whittaker's got a tough fight. I think it's a really, really tough fight, and it wouldn't shock me. I have a hard time betting against Whittaker in most fights. But I do think that Ikram Aliskerov, given the location, and granted that doesn't mean anything, Whittaker's so used to going into enemy territory, if you will, and fighting people in their backyard. And this isn't his backyard. It's not Dagestan, but for some reason, it's a Muslim country, and they're Muslim fighters, so they'll have a tremendous amount of support and whatnot. So, yeah, listen, looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting out and seeing a bit of Saudi Arabia as well. And who knows, maybe I come back a new Mikey B. Maybe I come back and I'm like, you know what?